One night my mate was like lying in bed and like he was trying to shut the curtain with his foot and he like kicked through the window, like proper plate glass. He'd kicked his foot through the window. So we put the mirror in front of the window for the rest of the season. It was proper honky tonk.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast. This is Chatzzz episode 28. And as you can see, we're in a very, very special setup today. We have a very, very special guest, Adam Teasdale. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Adam. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm very good, thank you. I was saying to you earlier, wasn't I? Saying that I feel like I'm the guest of the podcast. Because this is his podcast recording studio. I've brought the GoPro and that's about it, which is, yeah, very easy for me. I was a bit nervous. I was thinking, have I got enough stuff? Is this everything I need? And yeah, here we are. First time listening to headphones as well while recording the podcast, which is decent. So first thing, what we do is we get you to introduce yourself for the viewers. How would you introduce yourself if you were meeting someone for the first time?
Yeah, my name's Adam Teasdale. I'm a musician, producer. I've got a record label. I've worked in music pretty much my whole life since the age of 15. Yeah, I'm just a passionate musician / sound engineer. Outgoing kind of guy.
Got a few things going on there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I kind of bounce between a few different jobs, which make up my whole kind of living, if you know what I mean. But they're all kind of centralised around music or audio production.
Yeah, that's cool. So I've prepped you.
Yep.
You've had about a week to prep, I think, as well, haven't you? Which is good. Normally I give guests about 10 minutes. So tell us 3 facts about yourself.
3 facts, fairly interesting one to start. When I was younger, I used to race motorbikes. I raced mini motors basically against the likes of like Scott Redding and people who are like now racing in the like World Superbikes or MotoGP kind of stuff, which is pretty mad, and it's a pretty drastic career change to now. The second fact about myself is I've been a musician since the age of 15 and I've been performing professionally since then. And probably the third fact, I come from kind of like an interesting family of where pretty much everyone's either got their own business or they've been setting up companies the whole kind of lives, and I guess this has kind of inspired me to live the kind of job, the life that I do, and kind of just push my dreams, because I've been watching my family members do the kind of same thing for most of their lives.
Oh, cool. They're 3 really good facts. Yeah. Normally people struggle saying, I'm not that interesting, I don't know what to say, but they're actually really good ones. So the first one was getting into the bikes and motocross and stuff like that. So how did you get into that?
Dad's really into motorsport basically, and he's kind of raced all his life. He's 54 and still races now basically. But I'd started racing mini motors when I was like 11 or 12, and then I've raced in Spain twice, raced in the British Championships, raced at Donington Park where I actually won for a change. But yeah, it's been quite a mad life. I've probably done more little careers than most people will have done in their whole lives in like the 33 years that I've been alive, which is pretty mad and fairly special, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely. What did you enjoy most about the motocross and that kind of thing?
It just all the different places we'd go to. It'd be like, and I got gone with my dad all the time, do you know what I mean? It was good kind of crack. It was proper lad banter. Like, I'd get to hang out with all his mates, and then like, I don't know, when we raced in Spain, that was just surreal, racing under the floodlights. That was fairly special. Like, racing, there was like 50 odd people on the starting grid. I got crashed out in the first race, managed to get back into the halfway in between the pack. Then the second race, I managed to come 4th, but like everyone that beat us were on faster bikes, and I was leading for most of that race, but like it was probably the best I've ever rode in my life, to be honest. But that was like, I think I was 15, if you know what I mean. Yeah, like it was I basically packed it in to play football, which I kind of regret a bit now, because I could have probably went and done something in motorbikes basically, just following the footsteps of a lot of people that I raced with, who have all kind of went on to do bigger and better things. But then it got into like, it became about how much money you spent on everything, and then the fun went out of it. So my dad changed what he raced, and then I just started playing football again basically. I missed a cup final, and then I was gutted because I missed that and didn't get a medal, and I was like, right, I'm not racing anymore, physically.
That's all that matters when you're 15 though, isn't it?
Yeah. The medals.
But you seem so passionate about the motocross then. Are you still doing it now?
No, I've not raced for years, but like I did proper enjoy it when I was growing up. It was a big part of my life when I was younger. I just wish social media was about then, because obviously it'd be all over social media now. I think there's like one little video of us.
Yeah, people don't believe in it, I bet.
No, honestly, yeah. It's just, it's totally bizarre and like weird, but yeah.
Oh, cool. And the second one was you've been performing since you were 15.
Yeah.
So I think we'll talk a bit more about that later on, but maybe talk about just how you figured out that you could perform and sing and that kind of thing. Because when I was younger, nobody ever said, oh, Adam, you're really good at singing. They'd just be more like, oh, fucking hell, shut up.
I don't know, I was always kind of singing and stuff in school, and just little bits, and then I got in a school play basically, and after that all my teachers just kind of like fired us into like every musical thing possible, and my form tutor was like the head of music, basically. So she just kind of pushed us, and yeah, I went out and did a couple of singing lessons with somebody, and then he just kind of got me some equipment, and then I just started gigging. I learnt a set list with him, and then that was me kind of on the road gigging from that point. I went and did a gig with him, and then it was like, here, you've got an agent now. He's like, he's going to get you a gig, and I had like a rough set list of like 10 tunes, and the agent would just be like, I'll just sing them twice, and I'm just like, can't sing them twice kind of thing, but it's been a pretty bizarre one, to be honest.
Yeah. So how did you manage that with the motocross then when you grew up? Or did it kind of just finish?
Yeah, that was before that, basically. It was about, so I stopped, it was 15 when I did the first gig, but it's probably more like 14-ish when I quit motorbikeing, basically. But
so like, oh yeah, I've just finished that. What's the next thing?
Yeah. It just kind of happened. I don't know. I've always either done sport or like music, basically. And then, at the age of 50, after I got in that play thing, it just kind of switched up, and I wanted to do more music. I couldn't play instruments back then, but I could just sing. And then finally, in the last couple of years, I've like picked up the guitar, and after lockdown was proper good for us because I just hammered the guitar. Yeah. And here we are now, basically.
Right. Oh, cool. And then the next one was your family's always like had their own thing going on, their own business and that kind of stuff. So what was that like growing up then in that kind of atmosphere and that kind of family?
It was hectic and stressful. My dad's been at work most of my life, you know what I mean? And like my mum and dad both work together. And yeah, they set up a business when I was really young, and in the garage in his house, he worked for a company called Auto Windscreens, I think it was, back in the day. And then he just went on his own, started in his garage, and then so I'd be like downstairs playing on the computer while they had like someone answering the phones in the house in the reception, if you know what I mean. And like he got a unit, and I don't know, it's been quite inspiring for the fact of like if you graft, like my dad's a grafter, like, do you know what I mean? He'll be at work from 8 in the morning till 12 at night if he has to be, if you know what I mean. And although I'm not the earliest riser, I'll stay in the studio until like 4 in the morning if I have to, do you know what I mean? And when I'm doing weddings, some of them days are like 16 hours long, and like kind of think that it's the drive and the ethic that he's kind of given us, if you know what I mean, to put into a slightly different career, but it's the same energy and drive and passion, but for something else, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think it's important, isn't it, to have a good work ethic these days?
Yeah, definitely.
Because I feel like lots of kids probably don't have that. It's just like, I'll do that, I'll try it, I'll give up, not really bothered. But it's interesting that obviously, I think my mum and dad maybe put the work ethic into me. Like, I probably don't work as long hours as you do, but if I want something, I'll go after it. You know what I mean? I won't let anybody like stop me and find a way to do it. So I think family's important, isn't it?
Definitely,
Would you say that your upbringing really shaped to where you are today?
Yeah, definitely. They've always been like really supportive and like just telling us to invest in myself and like, just pushing us. It may not come across sometimes like the pushing us more. It's more like having a go at us, but like I know it's from a place of like love and like they just kind of want the best for us, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think maybe when you're younger, did you appreciate that? Because I know when I was younger, I didn't appreciate that. Like my mum and dad gave me every opportunity I could possibly have, and if I wanted to do something, they'd like send me to the camps or to the after school things. And when you look back now, you think, oh, to be fair, that was actually really, really good. And that's little things like that. You only maybe self-reflect when you're a bit older. You just take it for granted when you're younger, don't you?
Yeah, definitely.
But, so how did you find like growing up through school and through the ages? Did you be playing football, motocross, and singing, or
I was in like the school football team and stuff like that, and I'd generally done like if I don't know, if they needed a cross country runner, it'd be like, oh Adam, you can do sport, you go and do that, and I was like dragged in and out of lessons all the time for like sport kind of stuff, and I don't know, I kind of knew everyone in my school, if you know what I mean. I was just one of them people that could like integrate into whichever social kind of circle, and big massive friendship group, constantly out doing stuff, partying, and I don't know, from like from the age of like 15, 16, we were all out partying down like the suspension bridge, like causing absolute mayhem. But like I wouldn't say I was like back then mad on the party vibe. It was more like the social side of it, if you know what I mean, and like meeting girls, and you know, it is like
that's all that's important back in the day, isn't it? Trying to impress the girls. And if you were part of the football team stuff, then you must have been like quite a popular kid, like you say, friends with lots of people. And like, did you find it like easy growing up then?
Yeah, like I had my full, like my trials and tribulations. Like I don't know, you'd get people that were kind of like jealous and would like start beef, and you'd get random things. I remember getting started on the AstroTurf one time by like big old circle of people just got crowded around us and ended up in this massive fight thing. But like, it was weird. Like, but I don't know, you kind of go through stuff and it shapes you, and what doesn't kill you makes you stronger at the end of the day, I reckon. Like, and it's I don't know. I find it really easy to talk to people now. I was outgoing, but I was still a bit shy inside. You know what I mean? I think everyone's putting on a face of like confidence, if you know what I mean. And then like as I've got older, I've been able to step that level of confidence up more now, and I can just generally like every week I'm out chatting to different random people that I've just met. Do you know what I mean? It just becomes easier once you do it. And there's a lot of people who shy away from it and like from talking and chatting, and you've got to put yourself in them situations to get better at it. It's like the only way. If you just shy away and sit in your house, you're never going to meet people, and you're never going to grow, and you're never going to like learn from anything, because you haven't had the experiences, if you know what I mean. So
yeah, it's important to put yourself out your comfort zone, isn't it? Like, so many people these days will be happy to coast along, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If you're happy with your life, then go ahead and do that. But if you're complaining about like how shit's your life, or maybe, I don't know, you're not where you want to be in your career, but you need to be comfortable being uncomfortable, because that's the only way to grow, isn't it? And if you want like a different life, then you need to do something different. You can't just do what everyone else is doing, because then you're just going to be the same as everyone else. But yeah, so going through school then, what was kind of like the plans when you were leaving? How were you wanting to go to university, or was it just college, get a job, or what were you kind of thinking?
Well, I kind of was getting pushed to go into family business, but I didn't really want to. I'm not gonna lie, my parents were like, "Oh, this uni thing's a DOS, blah blah blah. You're just wasting time." And then like, I went to Cumbria Institute of the Arts to do music performance. The course was all right, but then I applied to get into Chester University. I kind of got in there, and then went to do performance and new media, and it was meant to be like VJing and video DJing and stuff like that, and it just wasn't. It was just like, they showed us that on the introductory day, and then we didn't really touch anything until the whole time I was there, basically. So I ended up dropping out of that, moved abroad for 6 months to go and sing over there, and then I was like singing, I don't know, 5 to 7 nights a week, couple of shows a night sometimes, and then came back and then applied for Canterbury University, and then I did music production there, basically. And yeah, it's just, music's kind of the only thing I've ever wanted to do, really, and like, you've got to go all in or it's not going to work, if you know what I mean. A lot of people seem to struggle with the working through the week and then the weekend balance, and I think when you try to do both, you can't really put your energy into both, so one of them's got to be sacrificed. And when you're dealing with gigs for people and doing people's weddings, you've got to be on form, do you know what I mean? It's someone's big day, it's someone's event, or if you've got a crowd, you need to give them energy, and if you've got no energy from working all week, it's hard. So I've just kind of like, although when I started I didn't make the most money, I've just ground, and I'd have the odd job through the week and stuff like that, but it's just, you get out what you put in. And this last couple of years I've been putting crazy amounts into my music, bought all new equipment, like I'll sit and practice for hours a week. I'll come home from gigs and I'll be sat practicing for 4 hours after it, just learning new songs and stuff like that. And like, that's the level. There's always someone pushing harder than what you're pushing. So you probably have like a 15-year-old kid that's better on singing and better on the guitar than us. But you know what I mean? Like, you've just got to have that in the back of your mind, that you've got to graft because there's someone else ready to take your position. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. I think I always say consistency is key, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
If you're, say, I don't know, practicing for 10 hours one day and then you don't pick it up for another two weeks, you're fucked, aren't you? You'd rather do, like, say, a few hours a day and just maintain that consistency, and that's how you gain momentum. I feel like if you're around for long enough as well, then people start to know you, don't they? Then you're the person to go to, or Adam's the person to go to music production or for singing, for weddings and that kind of thing. And that's where people forget. They want to do something. It doesn't happen straight away, and they're like, all right, and then there is that 15-year-old in the bedroom working, and then they come around and they're like, oh, we'll go to them instead of
Sheeran, for example.
Exactly, yeah. And like, these people come from somewhere, don't they?
Yeah,
you know, what's that thing? 'Cause I used to do a lot of events back in the day. That was my first business, and it's something like everyone's favorite DJ was DJ in the bedroom, started from the bedroom, or something like that. And it's so true, isn't it? Because people forget, they think that they're on the stage with like tens of thousands of people, but they were just practicing in the bedroom or gigging to 10 people or whatever on a Friday or Saturday night. Just going back to the university thing, why did you want to go to university for music production then? Did you think that was a thing to do, or people telling you what to do, or was it just because your mum and dad didn't want you to go, you just wanted to go? Or?
No, I wanted to be like, so I had people that were like making tracks for us, but it would always take forever to get this track, and they'd be like, yeah, I'm making it. So I thought, if I got to university, it'd be like 3 years of development on everything else, like my singing and all that, but then I could do. So I did music production with business management, so I could do, one of my lessons was like record label management. I did a bit of marketing, PR, just like so I could cross it over. So if the music did fail, I could go into a few different industries. Yeah. And then I started doing music production and just totally kind of got addicted into it. And now I'm like, all my garage tracks and stuff like that I make, I'm literally producing it all and then putting my own vocals on it. So kind of like 10 years later, I'm finally kind of doing the end goal of what I went there. Like, university, for me, gives you the skills to do it, but then after that, you've got to apply it, and then that's only after it. It's like driving a car. You can get taught how to drive, but then you're still learning after you've finished your test and all that, and like they kind of say that to you. So like, it's just that application afterwards, sitting. I don't know how close to my 10,000 hours are, but I can't be that far off now.
Yeah, that's important, isn't it? That's cool. So when did you drop out then? Oh, what was the thought process going through your head why you dropped out?
Oh, that was at Chatzzz University, but like I just didn't enjoy the course. I didn't get in like any of the sports teams because I applied late, and
okay.
I didn't really feel part of the vibe, if you know what I mean. And then,
but the Canterbury one was that one that's worthwhile.
Oh, definitely. So when I did that, literally the first week I went there. I didn't get in halls again though, but like I sang in there was like a karaoke night in the SU, and I sang in the SU, and I finished singing, and the full SU erupted.
Really?
And then from that point, like I just knew who everyone was basically, and like it was like a family. And then obviously I got in the sports teams, and then we kind of would go out with all the other sports teams, and then I moved into halls finally because someone dropped out of halls, and then it was just like a big old community. And it was the thing of like going to university and then meeting so many like-minded people. It was just like comfortable, and like you'd be at parties or something, but then there'd be 10 of us DJing, and like at that point I'd have been the worst DJ in the room, but then like I've left and I'm like the only one that still carries it on, if you know what I mean. And like they've all kind of packed in now, but like so parties back then would literally we'd be drinking and all that, but we'd be around the decks, and the laptop would be out, 2 people would be producing, there'd be 5 of us around the decks all going back to back, and like it was just quality. Like it's a big community, and like we'd go to gigs together and all that. Like I saw, Kano the rapper, went to see Kano in Margate Winter Gardens. There was like 50 people there. It was mad. We were like right at the front, just crazy stuff like that, mate. It was like it's proper interesting.
Yeah, university's definitely the best years of your life, isn't it?
100%.
Yeah, because I think I graduated like 3 or 4 years ago now.
Yeah,
I just think like at the time you're just in it, and you're like, oh, just university, isn't it, uni? And then you leave, and you're like, oh my god, you've literally got like you're an adult with no responsibilities, and you just like you say with your best mates all the time, going out, socialising, and that kind of stuff. Because for me, like I don't use my degree. I did hospitality management. So like I don't have a marketing degree or anything like that. And I just ended up like that. But I think it was important for me for networking and just like growing up, because I feel like I did grow a lot when I went to university. My dad took me there when I was 18, left me. I'm like, what the fuck do we do now? Cook, clean, buy shopping and that kind of thing.
Gives you independence, doesn't it? Like it's a proper journey. Like you're on your own, you've got to cook now, fend for yourself for a few years, and then it either makes you or breaks you. Like.
No, definitely. So then what was it like going away for 6 months and singing like 5-7 times a week, whatever you say?
Yeah, that was good. I was in Napa of all places, so it was like...
Was that in the summer then?
Yeah. It was like, I did like a full summer season. It was good. Nice. Like I went over as a Robbie Williams tribute, funnily enough, and like that changed because I planned all these set lists, and then my Cypriot boss was like, no, you have to sing these songs. And I was like, I'm not being funny, mate, but why are you telling an English guy what the best Robbie Williams songs are? Like, come on, like... I've enjoyed this guy my whole life, and then I ended up packing in the Robbie Williams tribute, and I was DJing for a bit, and then I got offered to be in the Blues Brothers tribute, so I did the Blues Brothers tribute for a little bit, and then that was manic because we were doing like 3 or 4 shows a night from venue to venue to venue. But then that meant we got like our own. They gave us a car, and like it was decent, but the car was like my driver's seat had like a plank of wood behind it holding it up and stuff like that. It was a proper shed. Like there was like an ABBA tape stuck in the tape deck and all that. It was like.
I was thinking you were a celebrity there.
Oh no, bro! Well, like everyone knows who you are, bro. But it's like we used to call our apartments Beirut because honestly, they were horrible. One night, my mate was like lying in bed and like he was trying to shut the curtain with his foot, and he like kicked through the window, like proper plate glass. He'd kicked his foot through the window, so we put the mirror in front of the window for the rest of the season. It was proper honky tonk. Like it was.
Had you always wanted to do a season then growing up?
I don't know. I just needed to get away. Like after university, I kind of fell in with a bit of a bad crowd. That kind of turns out we were just out all the time, and then I just needed a bit of a break from the scene and partying and that. And then I ended up going abroad to party or something. But it was good. It was nice. My mum was shocked because I managed to go abroad for 6 months and come back whiter than I left.
Yeah, because you're out all the time at night time and no suntan during the day.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, decent. So then when you came back, you went to university to Canterbury.
Yeah.
And then you said that was worth your while, wasn't
definitely.
it? So then what was the journey from there after that? What happened?
After university, I saved up and I moved to Brighton with my partner at the time, and we broke up after like a month of being there. So I had to kind of like pack all my stuff up and move back up north, and then it was just coming back up here, trying to find myself again, get back into the gigs, and I built a little studio set up in my house, and then we sat and cracked on with the production and met track after track after track, and just to try to find my place. And then eventually the gigs started picking up again. I started doing more weddings, started buying more equipment, and then kind of like here we are now. I applied for like the Voice a couple of times, got through to the round before the telly once, got a bit disheartened after that, and then because I didn't get through, and then I don't know, after that I just ground and thought I don't want that fast fame. I want to really work as a musician and hone my musician skills, and picking up the guitar again and like just absolutely hammering it. Like I don't know, just the amount of times I practice is just insane. Like that's been the biggest thing, the work ethic. I felt like when I was younger I maybe played it a bit more than I should have. And so now I'm kind of playing catch up and like, I don't know, I've got a band now. I'm writing solo stuff. I'm doing covers constantly. It's just like a big game of trying to put myself out there a bit more before it's too late, if you know what I mean. I don't want to wait 40 and think, I didn't give it up my all. So now I'm kind of firing everything into it.
So when you finished uni then, did you ever think, I need to get a job, or was it just literally just carry on what you were doing already?
I worked at Booker's, the thingy place. I had like for a little bit driving the vans and all that and doing deliveries, but that was horrible. I was like handballing 50, 60 things off into tiny little shops, and like you'd have to like carry it all, and like there'd be some old dear at the counter getting served, and you'd have to wait for them to get served while you've got armfuls of kit, and you're just like, oh my days. So I did that for a little bit, and then I worked for my dad for a little bit while singing on the weekends, and then just got to a point where I was earning like enough from the singing to start on my own, and then I moved out the parents, got myself a house, and then just started living my own life and enjoying myself again, basically. I'm not gonna lie, I finished uni after that breakup and I was pretty depressed for a long time, and I was just kind of like going through the motions, and like I got compared to the wedding singer in Carlisle Living the other week in the Adam Sandler the film. And like, I'm not gonna lie, for a few years I was just like singing all these sad Sam Smith songs at weddings and all that, and then like it was, I don't know, it's been a journey, I say that. Like,
that's makes you who you are though, isn't it? I
definitely.
think so, because I think people think when you've got your own thing going on, like you can do that straight away and you're making loads of money, isn't it? And you're not, like when you first start out, and some people have to get like part-time jobs, because when I started my first business, I got a job for 3 months for an events company when I finished uni, and then quit. And then I was running events, because I was running events anyway. And I was making absolutely no money at all, you know what I mean? Just enough to like pay rent and just have food and stuff like that. But some people, I don't know, they just assume, like you say, it's easy, but it's not. And like you say, that you want to put your all into it, and some people aren't willing to do that. And that's why you're where you are at the moment, and that's where I am at the moment. So then what was kind of like the moment or the flip of the switch when you thought, all right, this is going well, or this is starting to work, or that kind of thing?
I'm not really sure, to be honest. I just started stepping it up, and then started getting like love, and people started noticing. Like, I didn't really think anyone noticed like the grind I've been doing, but then like I got this Carlisle Living article the other week, and my dad was in Carlisle Living a few years ago, so I've been trying to like get into that. Well, not get into it, but I always hoped that I'd get my time to be in it as well. And then like they did this tiny little article. Well, I thought it was going to be a tiny little article, and then I opened it up and then like a double middle page spread about us, and I'm just like, someone listens, if you know what I mean. And then I got nominated for Northwest Entertainer of the Year last year, and through this like wedding company, and just little things like that, little achievements, and then getting players on BBC Introducing for my original stuff, and it's like, oh shit, this is kind of starting to go well, and like just little milestones here and there.
Recognition goes a long way, doesn't it?
Definitely. But this year it's just went another level. Like, cause I got played on Kiss FM a few months ago. BBC Introducing have been supporting us to death the last few months. I did a guest mix for them the other week, and it's just, as you grind more, like the accomplishments do stack up. But you've got to have them targets. So the next target's a Radio 1 play or Radio 2. That's my next milestone, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, that'd be so cool, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Just,
I suppose, like you say, it's just building, and it's just the compounded like interest, isn't it? Like slow, and then it kind of like booms. So for you, what is kind of like the next goal then, apart from obviously the Radio 1 and the Radio 2 play or whatever?
Well, I've got this band now basically called Urban Natives, and like I'm finally writing like all my own tunes with like four of my mates. Like, and it's just, I don't know, it's quality. Just being able to start like releasing properly all my own music. Like, I've got so many dance tunes that I've wrote up of all my own stuff that's stacked up, and like I've got like I'll be putting them out on my own record label. Like, we've done 2 million plays in the last 6 years. Like, we're just starting to get picked up by the likes of Kiss FM and stuff like that, and like just to grind on that and then level it all up. Really, I want to become a bit more of like a social media brand than just like a singer, and just have a platform to be able to like push my music. And I want to see the Lumineers at the start of the year, and they turned around in the middle of the gig and they were like, oh, this is the first time anyone's sang our new album back at us, and like that's where I want, do you know what I mean? Like I've got a potential of a few festivals, one of them's on next year, and like just to be able to sing my own material out at a crowd. And like, I don't want to be famous, I just want to be like, I just want a following for my own stuff. It's cool singing covers and all that, and it'll always be like my living and stuff like that, but like I just, the next level is just building up a fan base and being able to like release music after music and get constantly booked for that. Because I've started with my bassline and garage stuff like that. I've started getting booked for that and run a stage at Soulfest and all that, and then the Friday nights my record labels take over, and I don't know, I've made some crazy links, and I don't know, like Zed Bias, I DJ'd for DWE, the MC last year. Like, it's just, I'm just putting my fingers in loads of little pies, and but the next level I want to be writing and singing my own music basically, and I'm slowly kind of achieving that, and the feedback from the band's EP and all that is pretty incredible. From we got compared to like the Arctic Monkeys and Imagine Dragons and stuff like that, and the Kooks. It's just like, I don't know. It's a vibe, man. It's like I just want the music career to go to the next level. Basically, I'm gonna grind until it happens. Basically, like people like Leonard Cohen and all that didn't get famous till they were like in the 50s, and like, I don't know. Imagine Dragons are all late 30s, so I was like, it's never too late, kind of thing. I'm never going to be Justin Bieber, but you know what I mean? Like something like that. Maybe the Tesco Value Liam Gallagher will do. You know what I mean?
Or Robbie Williams.
Yeah.
How do you find managing all of this in your head then?
It's a bit of a stress, to be honest. I get told by a lot of people, especially relationships, that like I don't have the work-life balance. You know what I mean? I'm always on the phone, like always. Like it's a constant grind. Like you've got to reply when people message you for gigs because they want it right there and then. So like I'm kind of always on call, if you know what I mean, no matter what I'm doing. Like I'll be at another gig and I'll be mid-DJ and organising a thing, and then like it's just hard to balance from job to job because I've got the record label, I've got the band, I've got my own DJ stuff, I've got my singer stuff, I've got the studio obviously. It's a bit hectic. I've literally got to bounce from thing to thing to thing to thing constantly, and yeah, I don't know what people think. People think I do nothing through the day and I'm off, but literally I spend my days like either I'll be working on a tune for 5 minutes, I'm doing a poster for this, and then I'm negotiating a fees for a gig at that, and then it does fill up my day quite nicely, like, and it's just hectic, man. And then running the stage at a festival just this year was mind-blowingly difficult. I had to do a lot of the planning on my own because everyone was working, and like, I don't know, I became a bit of a stressful guy this last few months, which I kind of regret, but like, I don't know, it's been a learning process, and like, now that we've done it and stepped it up this year, I'll be a lot more calm and collected this year, basically, because, I don't know, trust your gut, basically, and like, that's what I've learned this year. Trust my gut and my instincts a bit more, and everything will be bang on. But yeah, managing my time is very hard, separating social life from business, because it kind of intertwines a lot for me, and like, yeah, I'm just kind of focusing on getting a better balance now, because I do need a life myself, and yeah, I'm not saying I don't have a life, but you know what I mean? I want to be able to like have a bit more time to chill out and spend time with loved ones and all that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I do find it hard for like a work-life balance, I suppose. Because I've just got a girlfriend this year, and she says similar thing, what you're obviously saying to me about you're always on your phone or whatever, you're always working and stuff like that. And I find it hard to switch off.
Yeah,
like,
same.
It's always like, what's next? Because there's always something next, isn't it? Like you say, if you're like the next wedding or like the next DJ event or the next track, and you're thinking, oh, I could be doing that, I could be doing that, I could be doing that. And I'd imagine by the looks of it and the sounds of it, it is hard. There's a lot going on upstairs, isn't it? And like for me, it's like, oh, client, I could do that for them, or they need to do that, or I need to message them or organise a podcast and stuff. But it's different when you love something, isn't it? You want to do it. It doesn't feel like work. It's not a chore. And that's where you should always do something you enjoy or do something that you love, because it doesn't feel like work. But you need to consider like friends, family, loved ones, to allocate time to them, because some of them don't, like, even though they try and understand, they don't really get it, because nobody can understand what's going on in your head, can they?
Yeah.
So do you kind of set yourself time then at the moment to yourself? Do you have like a thing that you can like switch off and relax to, or do something like, do you go to the gym, or I like go and watch the football and stuff like that? Or
I go to the gym quite a lot, but like I really struggle switching off, mate, like you've just said there, like, and yeah, I need to prioritise more free time for myself, really, because like, I just sit and stress myself out with worry about the next job and stuff like that. And honestly, like, it's so hard to switch off what I do. Because I feel like I'm playing catch up. Like you said, in the back of your mind, there's always something, or you could always be pushing harder. So I've kind of like stopped playing PlayStation and stuff like that. I used to be hammering Call of Duty and all that, and now I just can't even. I don't know. I'd rather be doing something like to do with music, whether that's playing guitar or something. And I got like, a lot of entrepreneurs say that there's a fine line between like making it, and it has to become pretty much an obsession to get there, if you know what I mean, and then never be put off by the failure, and like just work harder and put the ethic up. Like, have you heard of a guy called Gary Vee before?
Yeah.
Like, I'm proper inspired by him at the moment, and like, it doesn't look like he switches off either, to be honest. It seems to be a common trait with a lot of entrepreneurs and business people. Like, it's 24/7, and it's really hard for people who aren't that like-minded to understand your goals. They just think you're not bothered about them and stuff like that, which is quite hard to take, because you're doing it for them and everybody and yourself, obviously, but you're doing it to build a life. You know what I mean?
That's why I always say to my girlfriend, like, this is for us, you know what I mean?
I'm sure she knows, bro. Honestly, like.
If you're watching, I don't think she. But yeah, like Gary Vee, it's funny you should say that, because like you say, he doesn't switch off, and I've been following him for like a number of years and stuff. And then he like said he had like a wife and kids and that kind of thing. And then recently he's split up with her, and he's got a new girlfriend and stuff. So I do wonder, a lot of like they're obviously on a fucking different scale. Like him and like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and stuff, they seem to have like failed relationships, don't they, with like partners and that kind of thing, where that is sacrifice, isn't it? And it's, I don't know. I don't really think about it too often, but occasionally I'm like, do you really want that? You know what I mean? I think it is a fine line of like, say, having for me, it's not about making loads of money. It's having the freedom to like do what I want within reason. Obviously, I can't do what I want whenever I want. I still have to answer to clients and stuff like that because they obviously like pay me and stuff. But like, if I have enough money to, I don't know, pay the bills, go on some holidays, and then like supply or whatever for my family and my kids, whatever down the line, then that's sound, isn't it? But it's different people and stuff like that. What would you say your main goal is then?
I just want security. I want to be able to live comfortable. I don't want, if I do eventually have kids, I don't want to want for anything. Like I've been quite fortunate, and like if I wanted something, even when time dried, my family did grind and work like 2 jobs to, like when my mum and dad was setting up the business and before they were buying a house, they were saying they were working like 3 jobs and stuff like that just to start it all off. And like my dad's got a bit of freedom now, although they're a bit older. He goes away to festivals all the time with my mum, and they're always on older and going away in the camper van, and that's kind of what I want. And I don't want to have to struggle, do you know what I mean? And whatever my missus wants, or like, you know what I mean, whatever they want, I want them to be able to like have with us. And I've got early 20s, like it was always like, can I afford this? And like now I'm just kind of like, live your life and you work hard, so just if you want it, get it. And I don't want to be like, it'd be nice to be mega rich, but like, do you know what I mean? It's not the end goal. It's just security and comfort. And I don't want to have to work for too long in my life. Like it'd be quite nice to be able to retire within 20 years. Do you know what I mean? At the very least, so I can have that. I think a lot of people struggle on like the 9-to-5 grind and all that because like they just can't put enough money away, especially with like the cost of living and everything going up and like inflation and everything. It's they've got the people being forced to work for their whole lives, and it's like it's not live to work; it's work to live at the end of the day. And like people kind of forget that a bit along the way. And I don't know. I don't want to be stuck in a job that I hate for the rest of my life. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. I'd rather make a little bit less money and sing and get in a job there. You get appreciated, and like, it's just a vibe. Do you know what I mean? It is hard graft, and it's like mentally taxing and draining. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't know. It's just worth it for the freedom. What you said there. Yeah, it'd be cool to all be finished and being 40 odd, like sailing around Europe on a yacht. It's probably never gonna happen. But like, do you know what I mean? That. Just being able to have
need a lot of money for a yacht.
Oh, God, mine would be like a rubber dinghy, like a blow up one. I'd be sat with like a bottle of Prosecco, or Blackpool or something like that.
But yeah, it is a funny one because people just think, like you say, that you're probably doing nothing all day, isn't it? And they don't understand like if I'm sitting on my laptop all day, I've still done a full day's graft, and it's mentally taxing on me. But I haven't been out like physically doing stuff, but I'm still fucking exhausted.
I had a mate the other day, they really say to us, "Oh, well, you just sit at the studio all day producing beats," and I'm like, he's like, "My time's precious," and I'm like, "What? So my time isn't precious? Like what? Oh, yeah, but you can answer the phone. My job revolves around my business. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's a mate who I've told, like, who knows everything I do, and it's just like, if that's his point of view, then what's a lot of other people's point of view is, oh, you're just a dosser, you do a bit of music, and it's like, nah. For a wedding, I'll spend like 7 hours prepping the playlists for it the day before I go and spend 12 hours there. Do you know what I mean? Like the wedding I did on Saturday, can't get the equipment at 9 o'clock. We were there setting up. We set up by 11. Started the first set at 1. We didn't leave the venue till 1:30. Do you know what I mean? And then we've got to come back here, bring all the gear back to the studio, and then get ready to do it all again. Like the next day, 4 hours kip, and then up at 9 to get prepped for the next gig.
People don't understand that though. They just think like you just rock up, you sing, and then you go home. They don't understand like, the preparation, the thing that goes on after, do they? And say the hundreds of thousands of hours that you've put in beforehand to get where you are today. And like you say, friends, like I feel like you got certain friends for certain things. Like I'd imagine certain friends get what you do, and you can talk to them about that. And certain friends maybe just to go out with and just have fun and stuff, and you don't bother talking about that. And it's just like you say, it's annoying if like people don't respect that. And it's just like, I'm probably working harder than you. I don't get paid a set wage at the end of the month. You know what I mean? If you don't answer the phone, you don't get paid.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's
like they can rock up and coast through work 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and then go and get wrecked at the weekend. And that's sound, isn't it? But
probably they don't sit and think about work after they finish work. You know what I mean? A lot of people can like they go to work, they finished at 5, and then they switch off till 9 a.m. You know what I mean? Till the start of the next day, and then the weekend they're not bothered because they've not got any homework or any prep, and it's just like for like people like us, it's not all cushy. Like we were saying before, you just can't ever switch off because as soon as you switch off and you don't care, you're just gonna lose it. Like, do you know what I mean? Oh, I'm comfortable now. Do you know what I mean? Like as soon as you get comfortable and you're like content, that's when you already you've plateaued and you're on the dip. Do you know what I mean? It's like just the grind and the energy needs to be there to work in any self-employed industry, whether you're an artist, a photographer. You've got to be willing to put them hours in, and like we were saying about Gary Vee and all that spin with his missus, like it does take sacrifice. So I was cracking to someone the other day, and they were like, he said when he worked in London doing music, he said the guy said to him, "Oh, do you have a girlfriend?" And he was like, "Oh, good, not at the moment," because he was like, "If you want to be successful, you can't have one of them." And it's just like, Jesus Christ, what a lonely life.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought until this year. You know, like I always said, because I'd been single for 4 years before my current girlfriend, and that was like when I finished uni. So I'd always said, like people were saying to me, "Oh, why don't you have a girlfriend? Why don't you have a girlfriend?" I was like, I don't want one. Like, I don't have one at the moment. I just need to focus on myself, because during COVID, which we'll probably talk about next, it's like I was living in Cardiff, moved back with my parents because I had to reset the business because me and my business partner split. I was starting from zero. And like, if I had the way I was feeling, if I had somebody else's feelings to worry about, I'd be making decisions, not maybe that's best for myself and my future. It'd be best for us. You know what I mean? And that's where I think I lose the focus if I'm not single-minded. So yeah, for the last 4 years, I've just been focusing on myself and just grinding away, like you say. And then it just kind of happened. I wasn't looking for a girlfriend, it just kind of happened. And now like I'm in a position where I can allocate a bit more time. She probably wants a lot more time. We've got date night tonight that we can do that. But how was COVID for you then? Because you said, let's talk about this, because obviously you said set this up in COVID, didn't you? Which is really, really cool.
Well, like, so COVID for me, my gigs had just started picking up properly, and like just got an accountant properly, and like I was doing it all myself before that, and then I finally got an accountant and started taking things mega seriously, and then like, I don't know, I remember May hit, and I was going to do like quite a few grand in May, and I was like, this is going to be my best month ever, and then I remember it hit April or whatever, it's like, oh, everything's closed, you can't gig, and like I ended up having to go on universal credit, and I was just like, mint. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just a total reversal of everything, and yeah, I don't know, I just sat at home and played guitar and would have a beer and just, I don't know, just try and create music. But then obviously it was quite hard to create music because we weren't out gigging and we weren't out meeting people, and the inspiration kind of wasn't there. There's only so much inspiration you can have between four walls, and like when you've not seen anybody for weeks, do you know what I mean? It's but then I kind of got this unit basically, and then spent most of the back half of COVID just converting it into a warehouse, and it kind of gave us a bit of a goal and something to work on. And then as lockdown kind of started lifting, I had like a 5-room studio built, and it feels like it's like the final part of my life that needed to come in, and like it's been quite hard. I didn't want a week job, but I needed to do something through the week, and then I kind of like, obviously I can sit here and I'll produce other people's tunes and I'll produce podcasts for people and stuff like that, and then like I can sit and use it as an office to do all my business stuff, and I'm not sat at home with a TV. Do you know what I mean? It's just it makes it feel like I've got like a proper job. Like, it's always been a proper job, music. Do you know what I mean? But like, now it feels like I've got like a career and I do music, but it's all music. Do you know what I mean? I run my label from here, I run all my singing stuff from here, I do my festival planning from here. It's just like, I don't know. It's been a journey, and it was a lot of stress building this. I'm not gonna lie. One of my dads came down, and like he was a joiner. He didn't have a bit of work for a couple of weeks, so he came down and helped me like do a lot of the joinery and stuff like that. And then one of my other mates came and did the plastering for us, and then like, you know what I mean? It's been a grind.
Ground up, yeah. That's satisfying watching, yeah.
Oh, it was stressful. For a while, it was like kind of like, when will this be done? I'm sick of painting the walls like 3 times with this crap white paint, and it just wouldn't settle. It was just always like, oh, I need another coat. Oh, it was. So my house, basically, I got a house in lockdown, and like I've only kind of half done that, because I was just like, after the studio, like you can one coat everywhere, like this will do for now. Like, I need a break.
Yeah, that's funny. But so then, did you always want to have like a studio? I know you said you'd built one in your own house and stuff, but had you always wanted to have, like, you can't obviously see from the video, but it's like 2 floors, isn't it? And you got set up through there. Had you always wanted this?
Yeah, well, yeah, to be honest, since I started production, like, this was kind of like the dream. We were just saying on this little podcast we do the other night, like how we started off, and it was like a pair of monitors and like a crappy audio interface, and like we were just saying on the podcast, like, just push yourself and you can, like, we were just like sat being like, I can't believe we're like the transformation from a few years ago to like now. It's just insane. I think I got a picture popped up on my Snapchat, and it was like my old DJ setup at uni, and I literally had 4 pillows around 2 monitors. I didn't even have soundproofing, and then a tiny little DJ controller, and then that was like it. That was my setup, and then now it's just like, yeah, it's just totally mind blowing, the transition. But it was only after I started grafting harder that this has all kind of happened, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And do you ever find yourself looking back, like you say, so where you are now? Do you ever find yourself looking back to like where you were a year ago, or 2 years ago, or 3 years ago? Do you ever do much like self-reflection on that?
Oh, definitely. I've been going through quite a bit of a self-reflection period this last couple of months, so I've been having a bit of a transitional phase in my life. But like, just, you've got to look back, because you've got to appreciate where you've come from, and like, you've got to appreciate the journey you've made at the end of the day. And if you've got to know where you started to know where you're going to end. And like, a lot of people will look back on loads of decisions negatively, but it's like there's always a positive spin on that. If you take a negative decision and you learn from it, like if you've got I've been writing a lot of songs about like heartbreak and stuff recently, and like although it's a proper depressing thing, like you can write a song and someone else can relate to it, and then you're using it in a positive way instead of looking at back all negative. It's like, oh, I wrote this bit of music from this negative time in my life, and like it's because it's from the heart, it's heartfelt, it's relatable. So it's like a lot of people will just sit and stew on it, and like there's been relationships in the past where I've been really bitter about the breakups and all that, but like until you stop being bitter about it and just accept it all, you don't get over it and you don't process it. So like self-reflecting in business or in life, everything's one important, I think.
No, definitely. And it, like, I think even this morning I was saying, girlfriend, I want to get X revenue or whatever. Yeah. And then I think like, where I was last year, that's completely different. You know what I mean? You need to appreciate being in the moment. There's no point being like beat up and stuff, because you're probably doing a lot better than you were like a few months ago, 100%. A year ago and stuff like that, which is crazy. Like even say this podcast, this time last year, by the time we're recording this, I hadn't even launched it. You know what I mean? I'd recorded a couple of episodes, and now this is episode number 28, and you think like, bloody hell, a year's worth of like hard work, whatever, doing like, can you hear it all right?
Yeah.
A year's work of like, I do like a guest-based one every other week. So like, because it's manageable for me with my schedule at the moment. And I think like, if I didn't do it, then I wouldn't have had this conversation or any other conversations and stuff like that. And it's just, appreciating how far you've come, and just, obviously you want to set goals for yourself, because that's the best way to do it. You don't want to be, you said, content with yourself, and that's where you slump off. But so what's the plans for this next then? Because you were talking a bit about before.
I'm just going to try and get a few more like podcast clients, basically. It's ticking up nicely at the moment, but you can never have like too much work really. Just a few more bands and stuff like that. I've got another room to finish off where it's currently just full of all my equipment. I'm going to turn that into like a little practice room. I need to move a door and all that though, and it's just been the last few months since gigs started. It's been hectic, but like just need to start advertising it a bit more and really push it. Like I've got a room downstairs with like set up like a deck room. I don't know if you've seen Pirate Studio before, but like people can come in and hire the decks out, and like it's all the CDJs are in there, and there's cameras in the walls and that for streaming and stuff. Yeah, just get a bit more, build up my client base a little bit more. But it's been kind of hard to push every business at the moment because the singing's kind of took off a bit more, so I've kind of been focusing on that while just letting this kind of fizzle. But it's I just need to pump a bit more money into the marketing of the building really, and but it's been good because it's been allowed us to like sit and mess about with all my gear and get used to kind of everything. And I've been doing jobs, and some jobs I'll be like buying new gear for that job, and then I'm sat practicing with it. So again, it's been like another 2 years of development, but studios do take a few years to. Like a new business isn't generally just going to pop off, especially after COVID. Like it's a kind of a commodity, this in it. Do you know what I mean? It's like not something someone has to do. It's not like a shop that sells nappies or something like that. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's if people have the expendable cash, they'll come to a studio. Do you know what I mean? And like just building up that client base, and I'm getting there. A lot of my clients recommend me to other clients, which is going really well.
So you want word of mouth, isn't it? That's definitely. Because Pirate Studios, I know that from Cardiff, but I don't think there's anything else around here, is there really?
No. This is why I built this. I was going to be like hiring out this top room out for clients as well, but I've decided to knock that on the head just because I've got all my projects on that computer. So my practice room, I'm probably going to put like an old Mac in it, and then like monitor speakers and stuff, so that can be like a practice room, or they can hire that to sit and produce in and all that. But then the DJ room's fully, people can hire that out, 25 quid an hour. If you want to come to the studio, give us a shout.
Nice promo. But this is just like a creative's playground though, isn't it? You know what I mean? It'd be so fun for people to come in, like you say, and record some tunes or play on the decks and whatever, because there's nothing else really.
This is how the band started, basically. We just kind of kept meeting up, and we'd bring a few beers in, and then it'd be like 3 a.m, and we've wrote a tune, and it's just like, and we'd be 5 o'clock in the morning, we've wrote another tune, and it's like, should we start a band? And then just snowballed for that. I sent one of the tunes to Soulfest, and they were like, do you fancy playing on the main stage, up on the stage for us? And we were like, we've only got 2 tunes, but we'll write another 20 minutes, we'll write another like 45 minutes if you want. And we managed to do it in like 6 months.
Really? That's cool, isn't it? So what takes up most of your time then of the day, would you say? Or is it evenly split?
I kind of evenly split. I just bounce from job to job. It just depends. When festival season gets closer, I tend to spend like a day a week on Soulfest kind of stuff, booking acts or talking to agencies or planning and stuff like that. And then, it just kind of, my focus changes, depends on what the weekend is, do you know what I mean? And like I've started teaching and stuff like that as well, like teaching DJing and stuff to kids with a company, like a local company involved with the council. And like, so when I'm doing that becomes a bit of the focus. But like, I've just got to change it up, depending on what's on, if you know what I mean. If I haven't got loads of weddings, I can focus on everything else. And like, I've got like bar gigs this week, so I don't have any wedding prep to do, so it gives me a bit more time to just like work on my other projects, if you know what I mean. Like next week I've got a wedding, so I'll probably spend a bit more time in the week prepping stuff specifically for that. But yeah, it's like the focus changes depending on what the week looks like. Basically.
Non-stop. Brain must be scrambled.
Yeah, it is.
How will we have to process all that? How long are we going for? How long do you reckon it is? I'm just thinking
20+1.
Oh, I reckon we can keep going for a bit more. I'm enjoying it, and then we'll do the big mistake in a bit.
Yeah.
So then, like you say, what would you say you enjoy most out of everything? If you could pick one, I know it's probably like picking a favorite child or something like that. I know you don't have kids. But...
I'm not gonna lie, I do enjoy. See, it's hard one. I kind of enjoy the singing and the DJing equally, but like I've played on bigger stages with the DJing. Like I played at Ministry of Sound. I'm playing in front of like 800 or 900 people regularly at festivals and stuff, and like. I don't know, but then the pubs, I don't know, singing in bars and doing weddings and all that. I don't know, I just get lost in the moment when I'm singing, and I can just belt these songs out. So yeah, probably the singing because I've done it for longer, but and performing, and I just like being on stage. It doesn't really matter what it is, you know what I mean? It's a hard one, but then the festival planning's kind of rewarding, no matter how stressful it is. Like I went from having a small budget in the festival and getting given 2 months to plan it to like literally booking. Like this year I had Zed Bias, a guy called Sammy Vergi, I had Matrix and Future Bound, I had Friction, Vibes, Decline and Stanton Warriors. So I'm now booking all these artists that I've played tunes for like the last 10 years. Like I've been buying and playing and supporting their music and like getting to meet them all now, do you know what I mean? So I'm kind of like living out, I've kind of made myself live out a dream. I've always wanted to meet all these people and be on stage with them and all that. And like I opened for, Zed Bias is like a garage door, you know that tune? I feel good. The old one, like, I opened for him this year and like handed him the headphones, and he was like, I managed to get a photo of him and like with my arm wrapped, I must have just grabbed him and going, "Come here, Zed."
Headlock.
Like, in it, like, but like, I don't know. Yeah, it's really hard, bro. Everything I do is really kind of enjoyable, and even the record label. I don't know. I booked Devilman recently, and like his DJ was just like, "Oh, thanks for like helping launch my career on your record label." And I was like, "It's all you, bro." I was just like, "Cheers for giving me the music." Like, I appreciate the thanks, but it's not for the thanks, and everything just kind of getting really rewarding now a bit because I've just ground for the last few years. Like the label at the start, we were only getting like 40 plays a tune, and it became a point where we were doing like 30,000 plays a week and stuff like that. And then now, because the baseline scene's dropped off again a bit, we're sitting between 5 and 10k plays a week, but it's still good. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's the whole career is rewarding, but the singing's like always been my main passion and focus. And I'm now combining the two. So with the producing, and then I'm playing my own tracks with vocals on and stuff like that. It's
You say you do a lot of covers then. I'd imagine you mentioned about earlier you want to be known for your own songs and stuff. Is that difficult to like? Do you find it, I don't know, weird always singing other people's tunes when you produce you write your own songs and stuff like that? Or
it's just something I've done for years, you know what I mean? So I don't mind. I've got a lot of favourite artists, so I tend to just sculpt my set lists around the artists I like and what I know the audio. I sing the odd ones like Neil Diamond and stuff, which I don't really like, but like I don't know, current set lists just like Vance Joy, The Lumineers. I don't know. It's my performance at the end of the day, and if I know the crowd are going to kind of like it, like the Dermot Kennedy songs, you know what I mean? Like Paolo Nutini. I've kind of got to the point now where I can put my own spin on it, but then I will, at my acoustic gigs, I've started playing the odd one or two of my originals, and people seem to vibe. And comment we got the other day, they were like, "Oh, who's that tune by? It sounds like the Arctic Monkeys," and I was like, "It's mine." Like, I was like, love that.
Yeah. If you like. When you get that kind of response, how does that make you feel?
It's quality, like, honestly. I played at Ministry of Sound, and I was on the set. If you remember Cedric Gervais, he did that Summertime Sadness cover years ago. I was on the same set time as him, and I played the first dance tune I'd made out to the crowd, and everyone just danced like it was someone else's tune, and I was just stood on the stage like, mate, like, how they don't know it's my tune, and they're all just popping away, and I'm like, this is quality, like.
Because when I was in Cardiff, we put on... that was my first visit to events, like nightclub events and stuff. Like our biggest one was like 90s rave, whatever. And we booked like lots of DJs as well, like house music and that kind of stuff. And my business partner at the time, he was big into producing and stuff. And like when he used to play his new songs, he was so buzzing like with the reaction. And like you say, it's people don't really know like who the song's by, but when you get the good reaction of like the or whatever, you're just like, oh yeah. And then when people are like coming to you with the song that you've written as well, you're like, oh fucking hell, that's class. You know what I mean?
It tends to be a reaction from DJs now. If like so you'll be behind the booth with somebody and like you'll just hear someone scream the F word at you like really aggressively and loud, and that's like the ultimate sign of DJ appreciation nowadays. Like, I didn't know if we could swear. So.
Yeah, you can swear, yeah. Oh no, it's decent. So with this studio then, just going back to this, because I just want to ask about like how did you know how to kit all this out? Because like I said to you before, I was like doing out my new office room, and I had to like YouTube like lighting and where's the best positioning if I'm recording what kind of video, and then like the sound dampening stuff and like which mics to get and all that kind of stuff. But how did you know?
I've got a mate who built a studio down south and a couple of mates who have built studios, so I was constantly pestering their heads for bits of tips and all that. And then there's like websites like Gear Sluts and stuff like that where you can like there's just message boards of people giving your ideas and stuff. And then I just literally researched everything, like best way to make, like I made all the panels myself and stuff like that. Just like wood with rock wool and all that in, and then I put like a mesh over it and then put the covers on, and then like just trying to find a nice balance, and then just messing about with the sound and figuring out, I don't know, I just put bit by bit on and was like, oh, it still sounds a bit sharp when I'm recording, and I've just added to it. I want to add a little bit more in here, but just like a step-by-step process of like researching and like, I don't know, looking for I literally just sat and researched for months, like with messaging my mates, and like I bought like a digital desk so that I could kind of, because I use my software a lot, and a lot of things with softwares now, you can get VSTs and plugins, which literally like it's like virtual software instruments, like, and then basically they'll do the same thing as like analog gear. So I mean, the sound's pretty much replicated. So I don't have that much analog gear, but I've got like decent mics, decent mixing desk with decent preamps, and like I've kind of kept it a bit basic in that way. You go into studios, they've got all this equipment and they never use half of it, and I'm just like, what have you wasted $5,000 on that for that you've clearly never used? And you know what I mean? Like the quality is no different to what I can put out, and it's I don't know, like it's just a process of like you've got to again graft and like do your research, market research. I've been in loads of studios as well at the end, like to record my own stuff, so like I've taken note of what they've got, and just I don't know, just all kind of stuff I've researched and like my ideas basically I've kind of brought to life in the studio.
Yeah, it seems like such a passion project for you, isn't it? Like you say, if you visualize this however long, then it's come to fruition, and then like I say, it's a work in progress, but it's still pretty cool for what it is. Yeah. Cool. So the next part is biggest mistake or biggest regret. You've had time to prep for this. Are you going to do personal life, business life, or both? You said to me before we started, you got loads.
So like I'll probably do the business one to start off with. So when I was in university, one of my lecturers was kind of like prepping me up to kind of get signed and putting a backing band with me. And I remember at the time going out with my missus and getting very off my face the night before, and I remember the guitarist coming in, he was pissed off with us because he knew I was hanging out my arse.
Oh, as you would be though, wouldn't you?
And he'd come down from like some other city to do this, and like at the time my lecturer took me to like get fitted from a bespoke suit from Ben Sherman. Like she took me to Gibson Guitar Town, got to play on like a guitar that was got in a Coldplay before. Like she just came in the room and was like, this guitar's got in a Coldplay, help yourself to the monsters in the fridge. And like I'm just sat in this room while she's talking, and I got took to this like mad fancy jazz club, and like it was like a club, and like the Beatles have played there and all these mad bands have played there, basically like an underground street a club on like, I think it might have been like Bond Street or somewhere in London, or like somewhere like that. And then she was getting like record label people to come down and crack to us, and it just because I got mad kind of seshed in and like too far, like the guy was just like, he's not meant for this kind of thing, and like so that's been a bit of a regret, to be honest. But I was like, I let myself get manipulated by somebody to go out when I knew I shouldn't have, and like, do you know what I mean? It's like priorities. So I think from that experience, like I've kind of like sorted myself out, and like I won't make that mistake again. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's your own life and your own kind of destiny, and then like
So how did that make you feel then when you didn't obviously get signed? Or
I was a bit gutted, like, to be honest. But like, to be honest,
expecting it?
What for that to happen?
Yeah, well, it's kind of obviously came wrecked or whatever.
But it's probably bound to happen at the end of the day. I wasn't writing music like I am now, and like I could sing, but I was writing like the odd crappy dance tune that I was singing. Like I was making tunes that sounded a bit like a rubbish example back then. Do you know what I mean? Like, and like, So I think everything happens for a reason at the end of the day. Like it probably wouldn't have been the music I would want to release then. Now I'm like writing all this indie stuff like that, and like growing up, I was a mad indie head. Like I was a bit of an indie kid, like / townie at one point. Do you know what I mean? So like everything happens for a reason at the end of the day, I think. So it was kind of, although it was a negative experience, I've grown from it and processed it, and I just wouldn't make that same mistake again, basically. Yeah,
I don't think a mistake's a mistake unless you make it twice, isn't it? Like you learn from it. Like if you didn't go out that night before, I wonder where you are now. But you wouldn't be where you are, and you seem pretty happy with the way things are going, which is good. Did you want to do a personal mistake?
It's just that whole work-life balance. I just messing up relationships through the work-life balance. I don't know. It's obviously quite hard to be with a musician. There's a lot of like insecurities that come with that as you're flirting with women, as you're doing that, and just like not having the work-life balance and being reassuring enough for certain people, do you know what I mean? But again, it's like, you never stop learning, and like, I've reflected a lot over the last 2 months and feel like I've matured in a way. Like, I don't know, I've done like 6 or 7 months worth of soul searching in a month's period, and yeah, it's been a bit dark at times, and it's been a bit of a head fuck, I'm not gonna lie, but like, I can definitely see the growth, and like, yeah, it's just that process, man, that you've got to go through. And I know now that next time round in my next kind of relationship or whatever, just friendship or whatever, I need to take more time for the special people in my life. And like, yeah, that's it really. Like, yeah, just the time balance, time management, man.
You were saying earlier as well, I don't want to go too much into it, but about like how just even speaking to your friends and stuff, like how opening up to them that made them open up and stuff like that, which is a big lesson, isn't it? From like making a mistake and stuff like that. Because like say, we won't talk about, but you're saying you edit mental health podcasts and stuff, but like a lot of men don't like talk about the problems and stuff, do they? Just get on with it.
I think that's a big thing. One of my best friends died a few years ago, and like, he killed himself basically, and like, we all knew he was going through some struggles, and I don't know, like, I'd not seen him for 2 months because we had a bit of an argument, and I kind of pulled away. Then we were DJ'd together the night before, and then basically the next morning I get a phone call saying he'd like killed himself, and like, I had to go home and do my radio show, and he was like, oh yeah, I'll come with you, and then he just didn't end up coming with us. And the next morning I just get this phone call, and I like kind of regret obviously not being around like that last night more, because I just literally had to go and do my radio show. And like, I don't know, it's like just telling people what you're feeling, do you know what I mean? It's never, everyone vindicates mental health nowadays and talks about it like, oh yeah, you can open up, and then you find a lot of people when you do open up, they're just like, whoa, do you know what I mean? And it's like, you can't vindicate something and go on about like how you support it, and then when someone actually does it, pull away and like, or just be like, oh yeah, you'll be all right. And it's like, that's not a conversation. Like, you've got to talk about feelings, and like, it's the only way you'll process emotions. And if you just bury them and stuff them down deep, they're going to come back and resurface at some point, do you know what I mean? And it'll be when there's a massive life change. And like, this is why people have mental breakdowns. Suicides is like, every week I'm hearing about someone that's killed himself, every single week. And like, I'm gonna start a new men's mental health podcast at some point in the next few weeks.
You've said it here now. I'm just going to commit.
But it's
communication,
just isn't it? Communication's vital in this day and age. No one communicates properly. I think there's a lot of subtext and a subcontext to what everyone's saying, and like, they'll rather be like a bit snotty with you and all that, instead of just like, let's talk about the root of this problem. Why are you feeling this way? And like, you'll try and have a conversation with somebody, and it's like, oh, why are you having a go at me? And it's like, I'm not having a go. This is me putting my feelings across to you, so we can both discuss it and come from the other side. And me opening up about my feelings to a lot of my friends recently about my like kind of breakup and all that. Literally, it feels like everyone has either took on my sadness or now took a look at their own lives. Like, if it's sad, then what have I got to be? You know what I mean? It's like, it's a bit mad, like, and it's mental health and like, not like a competition and all that. It's easy to like, you've just got to talk. You know, men just don't talk. I don't know whether there's a bravado. It's like that toxic masculinity thing of like, oh, I'm a man, I've got to man up and all this. And that's like bullshit, you know what I mean? You're out crying, crying's processing emotions, and like, just don't bottle stuff up, because you know what I mean, at some point that the bottle cap is going to explode, you know what I mean? Like, it's only takes one thing to shake it up, and then the pressure's building at the end of the day. And like, yeah, just be open, be honest, tell people you love them, and make sure everyone knows what you mean to them. Like, because like, we're a long time dead, and like, if you make a big mistake, you sometimes can't get people back, do you know what I mean? And like, it's like, you can have a big long list of people you've lost in your life, or you can have a big long list of people that you've made up with, and like a big support network instead, you know what I mean? And it just takes one conversation for this to happen. Like, don't regret not having a conversation with someone and then like be carrying the weight of that for the rest of your life. Because I know, like, if I knew what my mate was going through, like, I was already telling him to come to the gym with us and all that, because I knew he felt low and all that, but I just didn't really know the context of how low he felt. And like, that's been a bit of a mental. None of us have really properly spoke about it. Really, I've started seeing a bit of a counsellor the other week just so I could help process all my problems, because just getting all of these rubbish answers off my mates, being like, oh, you'll be all right and all this, and it's like, that's cool, but like, it's good to have an impartial person. And like, I don't know, we carry a lot of weight and a lot of baggage without even really knowing it. And like, the happiest person in the room, which I probably look like sometimes, generally I'm probably not. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, you've got to project this air of confidence, and like, you've got to try and be happy and try and move on and try and process things, and like, check on your happy mates, check on your mates that are sad, and like, just don't shy away from conversation, because it's what's needed, you know what I mean? Communication, we're humans at the end of the day. We've lost the physical art of communication because everything's on social media now. You can text something wrong from a text all the time, but generally if you hear the tone of someone's voice, it might be a harsh thing, but like, you know what I mean? You can tell I always
say that to say like, example. Sorry to interrupt your flow.
That's all right, bro.
Like, say if I've got an unhappy client or something like that, and
Yeah.
they say message, and I say, oh, can we chat over Zoom or chat over the phone? Because if you're conversing where you can see people or hear people's tone of voice, it's completely different, because you can take a text or a message completely out of context, can't you?
Definitely.
It's like you say, if you're actually communicating as you normally would, then that's how you resolve issues, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, I think like communication, going back to communication again, is vital, isn't it? Like, say with me and my girlfriend, any like disagreements or stuff, like the way, like say, I'm just saying to her, like, this is the way I feel, and she says how that's the way she's feeling. Yeah, we may have a bit of a bicker, but you're getting out in the open. You're not having it all bottled up, and then later down the line you crack over something pointless. But I feel like in business as well, that I was going to say actually is like, I'm in it as well. I do it all the time, and you say like, people ask, "Oh, how's business going?" You say, "Oh yeah, it's going really, really well." And in the back of your head, you're thinking, "Oh bloody hell, well, so and so needs this, so and so needs that, so and so's unhappy. I need to pay this, I need to pay that. This invoice hasn't been paid, blah 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 blah," and that kind of thing. And you're just in the rhythm of it. And then a couple of months ago, I went to Marbella for a month to see my mate, and then I signed like my biggest client ever, whatever. And it was like, "Oh yeah, class! I'm in Marbella for a month, gonna network, blah blah blah." And then like clients started like leaving and stuff, and then people asking like, "How's business going?" I was like, "Oh, it's a bit shit at the moment." People were like, "Whoa, really?" And then just people just like respect it, you know what I mean? If you're honest and open, they don't really care. And if you're constantly just like in your head, like, "Oh, I need to be strong, or I need to man up, or I need to say this and need to say that," then yeah, it is difficult, because it, especially when you got your own thing, it's lonely, isn't it? Like you probably spend all day, every day in here, and you probably interact with some people, like I have means of some stuff, but it is hard. And people go to work, interact with people at work,
Definitely,
but people don't interact with you sitting there all day, do they?
No. That's the thing at weddings and all that. Although I'm like surrounded in a room by loads of people, I'm stood behind the desk on my own while watching people. I'm not slagging my job off at all, but it's like it's a happy job and all that. But like New Year's Eve, for example, when everyone's hugging and saying hello to their loved ones, well, I'm stood up there DJing, just being like, "Oh, this is cool." The odd person will come over and be like, "Oh, come here, give us a hug." But like, it's a lot of time away from your family and friends and the people you love, and like, they take that wrong. Do you know what I mean? Like, "Oh, you want to be doing this?" Like, I with my ex over the summer, I had to miss out on a festival going to that, and yeah, I was gutting. It's because like that was our thing, going to gigs and festivals and all that. But it's like, I did a wedding for like an influencer, like who does like floral designs for like Liverpool One and all that, and like does as like celebrity clients and all that, and like I couldn't afford to miss out on that opportunity. Do you know what I mean? It's like kind of, you've got to prioritize in your life, and again, we talked about it before. It's like you've got to make sacrifices for your career, or I don't know, you just end up, I don't know, fizzling out. And at the end of the day, it's, I don't know, people look at that being selfish, but it's not being selfish. You can't expect somebody who's had a career for nearly 20, like I've been doing this since I was 15, so what am I at now? What's that, like 16, 17 years, something like that, I've been doing this for. And like, it's, you've just got to prioritize, and you can't, someone can't expect someone just to drop the whole career that they've been building for years just to have a thing that's like a tangible thing. Like, you don't have to go to this event, you don't have to go to that, but you have to work. You've got to eat at the end of the day. And it comes to a lifetime in your life where you need to prioritize your time and what you're doing, and you can't all just be sunshine and dancing all the time. Do you know what I mean?
Cool. So I think that's a good place to end it. Is there anything you want to plug? Your studio, your music, anything and everything?
This could be long. Right, so we'll start off with the band. So I'm in an indie band called Urban Natives, and all of our socials are at Urban Natives UK. We've just dropped our new EP, Afters, on Spotify and digital retailers. If you're into your dance music, I've got a record label called Subsound Audio, and all the tags are at Subsound Audio. Or if you want to follow my DJ producing page, it's at TZ_UK. My singing page is at Adam Teasdale Singer, and the studio is at Site 79 Studios. So it's like Site 79 Studios, like, if you know what I mean. It's like half letters, half words. But yeah, thank you very much for having us on the pod, mate.
No problem. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's been a good one.
I feel like we've gone on lots of tangents. It's been very weird because I don't know how long we've been going for.
I think it's been an hour, like.
Because normally I can see like all the times we've been recorded and stuff like that, but hopefully it's about an hour-ish. But yeah, I've really enjoyed it, honestly. It's been good. Thanks for having me in here. It's been great. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe on YouTube. That's great. Make sure to like the video. Leave any comments about your favourite part is, any questions for Adam, or any future guests. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, make sure to follow the podcast. Leave a 5-star review. Nobody ever leaves a 5-star review. And I will see you next time. Bye.